Welcome back to the channel. So let's talk a little bit about the background of the case itself. So my previous employer, Cal State Los Angeles, I was hooked up with a mentor, one of the senior guys in the department, and his specialty was case writing. And I actually had very little experience with case writing. It's not something that's really taught in a lot of doctoral programs. So he took me under his wing and basically showed me how cases are written. And he hooked me up with one of the MBA students in the program, and she and I did a fair amount of the heavy lifting, and then he was able to kind of nudge us over the line with his expertise. So what we wound up doing is the MBA student and I would go down to Homeboy Industries. It was not too far from where my previous employer was, Cal State Los Angeles. It was in Boyle Heights, so it was a couple miles, and it was actually equidistant between where I lived and school. So to do the field work, it was quite easy because it was on the way to work. So I could do my field work for a while there, and then I could go ahead and head on to my regular employment afterwards. So that was kind of nice. We did observations on Homeboy Industries for about a year and a half. We were going down there pretty regularly. And this is the cool thing for all of you who are my viewers. If you ever want to go down to Homeboy Industries and just observe what's going on, and I'm sure things are quite different now with the coronavirus, so you'll have to kind of check before you go over there. But it was an organization that's open to the public. It's better if you call and make an appointment, but you can also just drop in. They have a really cool morning meeting that is very special. They get a bunch of the trainees together, and they all start off with a prayer. And then each one of them goes around the room talking about something great that they have done that day, something great they did recently, or something great that they're going to do that day or in the immediate future. And there's a lot of praise and a lot of cheering. And it's a very feel-good kind of moment. And those of you that are interested in Mary Parker Follett, to me, this was basically a Follettian leadership circle. Nobody was exactly in charge, but the need or the pride in the work that they were doing, making people's lives better, seemed to actually be the leader of these meetings. It was very interesting and very uplifting. And of course, if you make an appointment, they also have some of the trainees, the homies or homegirls, depending on who's doing it, that actually will give you the tour of Homeboy Industries and its facilities and talk to you. And we did that several times, and that actually formed the basis for some of the interview data that we had. And they'll tell you everything. They'll tell you about their lives. It's really interesting. And the purpose of that is, and you think about this, if you're in an American elementary school, you always have show and tell. You bring a toy from home and you present and talk about the toy in front of the class, and they get some questions and answers. Well, that's a skill that most of us have because we went through elementary school. A lot of the people that are the clients at Homeboy Industries never had that experience, or maybe they didn't go to school. They're very uncomfortable around people. They're very shy. They're very quiet. These are people that have endured extreme trauma in their lives, right? So that they can't even look you in the eye. So this is the process of basically having them do a show and tell so that they can develop confidence. So it's a really nice exercise for them as well. Yeah, so we gathered up a lot of the interview data. We did some observations, and then we sat down and wrote the case. I worked mostly with the grad student, had her give me a first draft of the actual story, and I edited it quite a bit. She was someone who didn't have English as a first language. And then I wrote the instructor's manual, which is not available if you look up this case on Google Scholar, but by request, the instructor's manuals can be provided. So I wrote the instructor's manual. What's an instructor's manual, probably wondering? Well, every case that's out there, even if it's in a textbook, has like an answer key. And the idea is that an adjunct instructor or some other instructor anywhere else may not have actually been to Homeboy Industries. They may not have ever even been to LA. They don't know much, but they read the case and they like it. So this gives them how to use the case for teaching purposes, teaching in-class exercises that you can use, little extra bits of information so that they can add to the case and seem like a rock star. And so you find that for cases all the time. Of course, we don't give those teaching manuals or instructor's manuals to students because that's the answer key. It's like giving you the questions at the back of the math book, right? So it's not helpful. So it's not helpful for us to give it to you right away, right? You need to struggle with the case and learn a little bit about it. So that's kind of the background of the case. So after we wrote it up, we then handed it off to my senior faculty mentor, and he gave a lot of feedback and did a lot of the polishing work because, again, he's somebody that's been writing cases for decades, so he knew how to make it really shine. And we presented this case at the Western Academy of Management Conference, and it received an award for Best Mentored Case. So that was kind of exciting too. So really kind of something that's related to me personally at Homeboy Industries, and this is a really great feel-good story, so I hope you enjoy it. In our next video, we'll actually talk about the history of Homeboy Industries. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.